What is EDLC? Embedded Product Development Lifecycle Modeling refers to the process of designing, building, testing, and releasing a product that has a computer or microcontroller embedded within it. This process typically involves several stages or phases, each with its own set of tasks and objectives. The first phase of the development lifecycle is usually the planning phase. During this phase, the team determines the goals and requirements of the product, including what features it will have, what kind of hardware and software it will use, and what resources will be needed to develop and test it. Once the planning phase is complete, the team moves on to the design phase. In this phase, they create detailed schematics and diagrams that show how the product will be built, how its various components will interact with each other, and how it will function. After the design phase comes the implementation phase, where the product is actually built. This involves assembling the hardware components, writing and testing the software, and integrating everything together to create a working prototype. The testing phase is where the team verifies that the product is functioning as intended and meets all of the requirements that were established in the planning phase. This typically involves a series of rigorous tests, including functional testing, performance testing, and stress testing. Finally, in the release phase, the team prepares the product for launch. This involves creating user documentation, preparing marketing materials, and ensuring that the product is ready for mass production. Throughout the entire development life cycle, the team must constantly communicate and collaborate with each other to ensure that everything is proceeding smoothly and that the product meets all of the necessary requirements. By following a well-defined development life cycle, the team can ensure that the final product is high quality, reliable, and meets the needs of its intended users. EDLC is divided into 4 types of modeling. 1. Linear or waterfall model. 2. Iterative or fountain model. 3. Prototyping or evolutionary model. 4. Spiral model. In the context of embedded system development, the linear model and iterative model are 2 different approaches to the development life cycle. The linear model, also known as the waterfall model, is a sequential approach where each stage of the development process is completed before moving on to the next stage. This means that the design phase must be completed before implementation can begin, and testing can only begin after implementation is complete. The linear model is often used when the requirements are well understood and the product is relatively simple. On the other hand, the iterative model is an approach where the development process is broken down into multiple iterations, with each iteration consisting of a complete development cycle. Each iteration involves design, implementation, and testing, and the feedback from each iteration is used to improve the product in subsequent iterations. The iterative model is often used when the requirements are not well defined, or when the product is complex and requires constant refinement and improvement. The main difference between the 2 models is that the linear model is a sequential, one-time process while the iterative model is a repeated process of development cycles. The linear model is suited for well-defined requirements, while the iterative model is suited for more complex or dynamic requirements that require constant refinement. The remaining types will be explained in the next video. Thanks.